Good evening. Thanks for joining us here in the Post Rock District. My name is Sandra Wick. I am the crop production agent, and I know that there has been lots of anxiety, lots of stress lately. So I thought I would just hop on here this evening, give you a little ag update, and give you some tools, show you some activities, show you some resources that's available to help you out there on the farm. So let's get started with the wheat. I know that there's been some low temperature activities going on out there in the last few days. So where I get my temperature reports are, and I wanted to give this to you before we even started here, is the K-State Mesonet Data Library. The Post Rock District is fortunate that we actually have 3 of those weather stations in our Post Rock District. One of them is in Jewell County, Osborne County, and in Mitchell County. And we also have some close neighbors to the east in Republic County. We have a station at Scandia, and we have a station at Belleville. So I checked those weather stations back on April 2nd and 3rd. That was kind of our first cold snap. We had temperatures ranging from 19 to 21 degrees. And then we had another cold snap this week, actually Monday. And that was on April 13th, actually in the morning, around 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning, we had even lower temperatures, anywhere from 17 to 19 degrees at the different weather stations. And then just this morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, we had even lower temperatures, 16 degrees in the Osborne County station and up to 19 degrees at some of the other stations. So, so what does this mean to the wheat? Well, last Friday afternoon, it was like 70 degrees, okay? So I went traveling, following my social distancing rules. We were just out in the wheat field, so I didn't really see anybody. So we went and looked at some wheat. And I should say, define who we is. It's my chauffeur, my husband, Don. So he tends to be pulled along at some of these things. So we pulled some wheat up. So I'm going to stand up here and show you the wheat plants. Here's about the size of the wheat that we found. Fairly small, still in the tillering stage, okay? So what we mean by tillering is this little head down here, and this is about the size of wheat. I'm going to pull one of these apart, and so I can show you just a little bit better here. All right. So here's one of the wheat plants that we found, and what we mean by the tillering stage, that little wheat head hasn't really moved up here at the top of the stem. So we're going to peel some of these little leaves away from here, okay? And what we need to do is find that little growing point down here. That you take your 2 forefingers, run your fingers along that. You can feel a little bump, okay? This little bump here is that growing point where that developing head, I'm going to move this a little bit, that developing head is going to continue to move up that stalk, okay? Most of the wheat is still in the late tillering stage. If you remember last fall, a lot of our farmers did not get out in the fields to get that wheat planted. A lot of it was after soybeans, so it was kind of late planted. So it's kind of started out a little disadvantage here, but in a way, that's a good thing now as far as the stage of development. So when we talk about this tillering plant, K-State Research and Extension, and I'm going to point that out to you too, has some excellent publications for you. So we're going to pop that up on the screen real quick here. And that is our freeze publication. And so what I'd like you to do is we have this posted on our crops page of our Post Rock Extension District. This is an excellent publication that shows illustrations, shows some information for you to help you determine and to look at some of these low temperatures. So the main 2 factors that we're looking at when you're trying to determine some freeze injury is the stage of development of that crop and the temperature. And what we mean by the temperature is the degrees and the duration of that temperature, okay? Alrighty, so I showed you in this chart that's up on there, there's 2 charts. One of them has a little graph on there and a little curve there, and it shows you kind of the resistance and the stage of development that that wheat is at and when it's the most resistant and when it's the most sensitive. That bottom graph there actually describes some of the symptoms that can happen once some low temperatures occur. Okay, so let's take a look at this wheat plant again. Okay, This was in the tillering stage. So that little weed head, what I found is that little growing point, and here's the soil surface. That little growing point was only right at the surface there, so pretty protected. And some other factors that can go into is the amount of moisture in the soil, and if there's a canopy, if there's quite a bit of growth on top of that, and if it's kind of insulated more towards the bottom there, then it's going to be protected. Okay, now let's look at some other wheat. This was some pretty bigger wheat that I found. So you can see that's quite a big difference there. But I'll tell you what, it took me about 15 to 20 fields before I found this large of plants. So we're going to pull off one of those. And here's this one. And this is in the early jointing stage. And what we mean by jointing is that little wheat head, that growth point, I'm going to run my fingers, was about up here. The soil surface is down here, so it's run up probably about an inch or so from the ground, because here's your soil line, and that little growing point is up here. But this had a lot more canopy in order to insulate that as well. So what does all this mean? Well, do you think there's any damage? Well, it's going to be hard to determine that at this point, because what you have to do is wait around 10 to 14 days before any of the damage is going to show up. And what I mean, and what you'll need to do then is and I'm going to keep these plants. What you'll need to do is take this plant, split the stem right where that growing point is, and actually take a look at that growing point. What that growing point is, and you'll be amazed, get a little magnifying lens. Look at that. That is actually the wheat head when the kernels are already formed there. What you want to look for there is the growing point that's greenish, whitish, that looks healthy, is firm. If it's got any damage on it, it might be a little discolored, might have a little tanning to it, and it might be mushy and white. So, but you're going to have to wait until it kind of warms up a little bit in order for that wheat to keep growing, or to start growing again once the cold temperatures hit it, to see if you see any damage. Okay, so remember that spring freeze injury publication. It's on our website, and it's underneath my crops tab, and then you go to the right side on resources and just click on that spring freeze, and you can download it and take a look at that information. Please don't hesitate to give me a call. And send pictures. I love to get pictures. So send me some pictures of you are dissecting the plants and see if you're checking some of your growing points. But I think for the most part, because I had to hunt so long to find some of the fields were jointed, I think we're probably going to escape this injury for now. But this isn't uncommon at all to get freezing temperatures, low temperatures in April. Okay. What about the alfalfa? I've got calls on alfalfa as well on what this low temperatures are doing. If you go out to the alfalfa and you notice that it just doesn't look very good, some browning tips and things, but if the foliage is still there, then it probably is the freeze damage, especially if it was in the lower areas. If it's not looking as good and there's some browning and leaf bronzing, leaf burning compared to on the tops on the terraces or up on the hill where it's not as bad, then it's probably some freeze injury. So what else is going on out there in the crops? In the insect activity, I have had some calls that there is some insect activity going on out there, in the wheat too. But the difference is that you can tell brown compared to where you notice some chewing or, some of the plant parts are gone. So what's kind of been out there is some army cutworms. I have had some calls on that they've been out there for probably a couple weeks. So, but they don't like this cold weather any more than we do. So it's going to be hard to find them now when it's colder. When it gets warmer, when it warms up 60, 70, they're going to be out in the afternoon just chomping away at these plants. So not only wheat, but they have been in the alfalfa too. They should be almost done with their life cycle. When they get to be about an inch and a quarter, they're pretty much done. We have some excellent K-State publications, and those will pop up on the screen here as well. We have a wheat insect management guide and an alfalfa insect management guide. In that, it gives you the thresholds in order to go by on when it warrants to have something sprayed or when it needs sprayed. It also lists the insecticides that are effective against the army cutworms. Other things that are going on out there is there have been reports of some alfalfa weevil and also of some pea aphids. So just give me a call if you have any questions and look at these publications. These are also listed on our post-rock webpage under crops and then resources over on the right. Okay, we're going to move now to COVID-19 resources. And I really don't want to dwell on this, but I wanted to really make sure that you knew that we had some resources available out there to help you out. So if you have not been to K-State Research and Extension's main webpage, you can't miss it. It's big purple letters and white. It's the main header. If you click on that, it will come up, and it's been very nicely organized into different categories. A couple of those categories, or a few of those categories, include agriculture, finances, family, safety, any of those. And then once you click on those topics or those categories, it lists a whole bunch of resources, whether it be publications, whether it be some videos, but that is all there for you. One that I would like to highlight that has done a really awesome job is the Ag Economics Department there with Extension. They have started some online videos, or online webinars is what we call them, or Zoom meetings. They are just finishing up a 4-part series on ag finances. They're going to finish that series up this Thursday evening. The last topic will be on the effects of COVID on land values. So you need to register for those on the www.agmanager.info site. So if you go into that, and right in the middle of that main page, I believe it says upcoming events or recent videos, and then you can register for that. If you were unable to join any of those online Zoom meetings on Thursday evenings that started March 26th, you can get those recordings. So they have all been recorded. The other topics include macroeconomics, grain markets, and livestock markets. It only lasts for like about an hour, and then there's a question and answer. So I really encourage you to go and listen to those videos if you can. A couple others that they're also highlighting. There was one this week on the Paycheck Protection Program, or the PPP program, and how that relates to the agriculture industry. That was recorded on Monday. So that's about another hour program with some questions and answers. And there's going to be one tomorrow evening. That would be Wednesday, April 15th at 7 p.m. And that is going to be on the CARES Act and the agriculture provisions in that. So you really need to go in and register for that. And once you register at that Ag Manager info site, you will get a link to the email, and then you just simply click on it and you will be connected to that Zoom. So let's move to our Post-Rock District website. We really want to push you to that website as well, because our staff has really done a good job of trying to get you some information. And I want to highlight my crops tab on the left. All the extension agents have a specific program area on the left-hand side there. And so we're going to target my crops tab on the left. Once you click on that, you'll notice that some videos will pop up there. And I would actually, before I forget to, I want to thank all my Post-Rock team that have really helped to develop these videos, because I tell you what, we could not do it alone. So we have a great team to work with, and I really want to thank them and appreciate them for all the work that they've done on these videos as well. So as you realize, or as you know, we typically have lots of face-to-face winter agronomy programs. So what I decided to do this winter was pull aside those agronomists and interview them and just have them give me highlights of the presentation that they did. The one that we highlighted this year that we did was one of the soybean schools. So there's about 4 presentations or 4 videos that you can watch there. These videos only are about 10 minutes in length, and they are very specific targeted topics. So we put a couple up, and one of them is Dr. Sarah Lancaster. And she was on some weed control options for soybeans. And we just put up Dr. Ignacio Simpantini. and he highlighted some of his seeding rate studies that he's working on for soybeans. We'll be working on a couple other ones that hopefully we'll get up during the month of April. And those will be on some fertility management for soybeans. And then there'll be one on some marketing options and some marketing outlook for soybeans. We do have one other video up there that we did last fall or in January. And that was with Dr. Vipin Kumar. And he is one of our weed scientists at the Hayes Experiment Station. And he covered some information on Palmer amaranth and the research that's being done at the Hayes Station. So I really encourage you to take a look at those videos now that we're confined to maybe our homes a little bit more, and maybe you need some good educational programming. I really encourage you to go to our website, and that is postrock.ksu.edu. We're going to move a little bit now to finish up here on some youth development, and then we'll have a couple more topics. Typically, every year we have a face-to-face tractor safety training for our youth. That's really designed for 14 to 15-year-olds. Well, with all the change with the COVID-19, we decided to move that face-to-face event to an online program. So we're just getting that organized now. So what you'll need to do is to call any of our Post Rock Extension District offices in Beloit, Lincoln, Mankato, Osborne, or Smith Center, and sign up. Even though you had registered for the face-to-face event, this is going to be a little bit completely different sign up. So if you could call the office again, let us know that you're interested in taking it online, and then we'll get you all the materials for that. The only really cost for that is if you want to get the book, that cost is $20, but that manual is available online as well. So if you are okay with an online book, then there will be no cost for that. But just call any of the extension offices and we'll get you the information for that. Okay, let's move to our Post Rock District wheat demonstration test plots. Even though we started out with wheat, we're going to end up with wheat here. As you know, we traditionally have a face-to-face wheat demonstration plot tours around the end of May. However, with the announcement that just came out from K-State Research and Extension, we can not have any face-to-face activities, events, or programs until July 4th. So we wrapped our heads around this, and we decided that we're going to change this to a virtual tour somehow. So we don't really know how that's going to look at this point, but we do have 4 wheat test plots in our district, and I would personally like to thank our cooperators for that because I know it takes a lot of time. We have Calvin Bonert in the Jewell County, and his plot is located just north of Jewell. Brent Harsman is a cooperator in the Osborne County, and that plot is located west and north of Downs. Then we have the Smith County plot, which is located 1 mile south of Lebanon. And then we have, and that is Art Befford. And then our replicated plot, which is Marty Fletchall, and that is located south of Beloit. So what we're going to do, we don't know how that's going to look. If we do it virtually, since there's so many wheat demonstration plots around, not only at the local units, which is in a district or a county, there's the wheat test plots at each of the experiment fields as well. So we don't know how that's going to look, but just stay tuned to our Post Rock District website, and then we will keep you informed because that will probably be more like the end of May. But we are still going to do something. We just don't know how that's going to look right now. So lastly, I'd like to direct you to our website again and to our Ag Listserv for the Post District. As you know, I tend to email a lot of my producers and followers for upcoming events and activities. So what we've done is we provided a way for you to sign up if you're not currently on that. So if you go to Crops or Livestock tab, and then on the right-hand side where it says Stay Connected, the last one, it says Ag Listserv. And when you click on that, you can simply just sign up, and it asks for your name, address, email, phone number, and then you will automatically become on that email listserv. And then we can keep you informed of all the activities, events, and tools that's available for you. So that includes my report for this evening. Thanks for joining us. And really, we are only a phone call away, or a text, or an email. And I wanted you to know that we are still here for you. So thanks for joining us, and stay safe. And we'll see you later.